it's James here from goodguitarist.com, and in today's lesson we're going to learn how to play Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. We're going to learn two things, the intro riff and the strumming. And we'll start off with the strumming, which is, it's simple because it's just the same 4 chords over and over again using the same strumming pattern. You know, this is a 4-chord wonder. But it's not easy because one of those chords is a B minor bar chord, and that might be a little tricky to do. I'll show you some tricks, some ways around it so that you can kind of build up into it and you'll still be able to play this song even if you're not ready for bar chords. But yeah, it's very, very easy to understand what to do. We'll just have to do a little bit of work to maybe get that chord together. And if you find that you are ready to start tackling bar chords, I have a course, Barre Chords Made Easy. I'll put a link to that down below, and that'll help you if you need any extra help with it. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right in and start with the strumming. We start with an E minor chord, and then we go to A. Then we have a D chord, and then B minor. Now, if you're having trouble with that B minor, I recommend just doing this. This is called the power chord, and it's just on the A string, 2nd fret, and then the 4th fret, and the 4th fret. So. And that is the foundation of the bar chord. You know, from there, we have to bar the strings and add another finger, and that makes our full B minor chord. But you know, if you get used to this power chord, it's a great stepping stone to getting you ready, and it gets you into that position. You know, when I switch from D to B minor, it feels pretty similar to B into that power chord. You know, so it gets you moving your hand the right way. So that's what I want you to do if you're not quite ready for bar chords. And for the rest of those chord shapes, E minor, A, and D, I have a bunch of stuff covering those. My free ebook, my beginner's course, I have a bunch of tutorial videos on YouTube that will teach you all of those switches. You know, I like when my students practice chords like 2 at a time. You know, so just going E minor to A, back and forth. That'll get you really good at that switch. Then the next switch we need is A to D. So we can do that one. And there's a little bit of a trick for that one. You just pivot off of that finger. I go over that. I'll link that one up below. There's a whole video covering it. But, you know, just practice A to D over and over. And then D into that power chord or the full B minor chord. And then from there, back into E minor, just to make sure you can go from the back to the beginning. So take a minute with each of those switches. Make sure that you're decent with it. And then we can practice going through the whole progression, downstrokes only, just focusing on getting each chord the right number of times. Starting off on our E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the full B minor. I'll do the power chord next. 1, 2, 3, 4. Power chord. Back to the bar chord, just so you can hear the difference between the two. Power chord. Cool, so take your time with that, work through it over and over again. You can always rewind and just go through that as many times as you need to. And when you're ready, we can take a look at the strumming pattern. The one that I've chosen for this song goes like this. I'll do it a little bit slower. 3 and 4 and. And that pattern is down, root, down, down, up. Root just means to do a little strum, you know, just hit the thicker strings in that chord shape. You know, it just adds some dynamics to our playing without having to think too hard. You're always welcome to just do a downstroke there instead. Anyways, to learn this pattern, we can break it up into 2 parts. First, we have down, root, and that's on beat 1 and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, that's not too bad. And the second half is down, down, up. So to practice that, we count 1, 2, down, down, up. 1, 2, down, down, up. And if you need more help with the mechanics of strumming, I have a video that goes over that specifically, as well as my beginner course, which is all about strumming. So links to that down below. But now we're just going to put that together, put those two halves together. We have down, root, and then we have down, down, up. Down, root, down, down, up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and. And you might just have to say it, down, root, down, down, up. Go through the motions at your own pace. And when you're ready, just try it a whole bunch of times over each chord shape. And once you have that together, we can add it to our entire progression. So let's do that right now, nice and slow. You can always just watch me do this and then rewind the tape after and try it with me afterwards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's all you have to do for the entire song. Just strum the song like that. Obviously, the actual recording is a bit faster, so I recommend, making sure you can do it slowly and accurately, and then just gradually building up into the original recording. You can always, on YouTube, slow down the music video to like 50% or 75%, and just try it a bit slower a whole bunch of times till you get used to it. Sleep on it, come back the next day, and your brain will have rewired itself, and you'll be able to play through it a little bit quicker. And that just happens every day until eventually you're up to tempo, which is more like. Just start slow and accurate and build up over time. Now, the other thing that we have to learn for this tune is that intro. It goes like this. And that whole part is just 3 notes. We have the open D string, then the 2nd fret of the A string, and then the open A string. So just try those 3 notes. So note-wise, it's really simple. The only thing we really have to focus on is the rhythm. We start off on beat 1, 1 and 2 and. So we did this note on beat 1, and that fills up the amount of space. It fills up 1 and then 2 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And for the next part, it's the same thing except over 3 and 4. So 3 and 4 and. 3 and 4 and. Let's try that entire first measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 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 Cool, so we're halfway there. The next part is pretty much the same, except our first note is happening on the and of 1. So it goes 1 and 2 and. So 1, we're not doing anything, and then and 2 and. We do our 3-note sequence. 1 and 2 and. And now for this final one, we can just go 3 and 4 and, just like we did before. But we can also go 3 and 4 and. So there we're changing up our sequence a little bit. We're doubling the first note, but it ends up being pretty straightforward. 3 and 4 and let's try it that way. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and combining that with the previous bit, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're basically plucking on every single bit of the counting except for beat 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I recommend you work it out in halves like we just did, going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and over and over again, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So pause the tape, try out each of those halves, and when you're ready, we're going to put it all together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And just like with the chords and strumming, it's going to happen quite a bit faster. So make sure that you nail it nice and slow, and then when you're ready, speed it up a little bit. Counting out loud is definitely the key if you're having trouble with the rhythm. You might just be able to feel it and not really have to worry about the counting, and that's great if you are capable of that. But if you feel like it's even a little shaky, I do recommend just taking the time, maybe even get out a metronome. So do what you have to do to work that out, because now we're going to put this whole thing together and assemble the tune. We start off with our intro riff, and we do that 2 times. After that, we go through our entire chord progression 8 times for the verse, and then we have our chorus. And you know earlier how I mentioned that this song, you just play through the same chord progression over and over? That is true, but there is one tiny little exception, and that happens during the chorus. Basically, we play our chord progression 4 times, and then after that, we play E minor and A, which is basically like the first half of our chord progression. So it's kind of like we play our chord progression 4.5 times. And then from there, we go on to the second verse and the second chorus. There's a bridge, which is the same as any of the other parts. You know, we just play our progression 4 times. The reason why I say it's a bridge is because the vocals and that stuff gets a lot different, and it clearly does sound like a different part of the song. But from the guitarist's perspective, man, just keep playing the same 4-chord progression, right? So after that bridge, there is yet another chorus, and then there's a short verse where we only play our progression 3 times, and then we go E minor, A, just like at the end of our chorus, and then we go into our intro 1 more time. So we actually do play that once again. And after that, it goes back into a chorus until the song is over. So what we need to do is learn how to transition from our intro riff into the chords. And then we have to learn how to transition from our chords back into that intro riff just for the very end of the song. We're just going to do like a shortened version of this so that you can work on all of that. And what we're going to do is play the intro. Then we're going to play our chorus, which is our chord progression 4 times, and then just the first half of our chord progression, E minor to A. And then from there, we go into our intro riff again, and that'll be everything that you need to be able to play along with the original recording. So I'm going to do that. You can always just watch this and see what's going on first and then try it with me afterwards, but it's not too simple to get what's going on. We just got to work through it slowly and actually figure out how to play it. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, half of the progression. And you might have noticed as I was transitioning back into that intro riff, I played the full pattern on E minor, but then I stopped early on this one. I only went down, root, down, and I left out that down up at the end to give myself time to get ready to play that intro riff. So you can work on that just by counting it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives you some extra time. Just exclude that down up. It's totally fine to like leave the A chord a little bit early if it means getting that intro riff right on time with the tune. Anyways, that's all you need to be able to play Come and Get Your Love by Redbone. If you need any help putting this all together, I have that chord chart on my Patreon. There's a link to that down below. And if you need help with any of the individual aspects of this tune, I have a bunch of free resources. There's my free ebook. I have all these chord switching videos, a whole bunch of stuff to help you out with that. And if you want to help support the channel, I also have some premium resources, my complete beginner's course, which will help you with the basic chords and strumming and, putting a whole song together, that type of thing. There's Barre Chords Made Easy, which is designed to help you out with that bar chord and make it into a gradual process. It's actually like kind of a beginner level course, even though it has bar chords in it, because it's designed to get you ready for that stuff and show you all the cool stuff you can do with it once you do have it. So don't forget to check those out if you need any extra help. Otherwise, have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.